Hello there my friends, Perilous3D here. I wanted to make a follow-up video on my Ghost Vape review, which you can watch here or check it out in the description. I really wanted to love this thing, and I have come to love it. I've come to know it very well actually, both the ins and outs of what is good about it and what's bad about it. I've come to intimately know both sides of this unit. And here it is again. You can see it on the screen here. I have the first one, which is the metallic black color. There it is here. This is actually a replacement that they sent me because the first one was doing some funky stuff. And even though the problems I was experiencing, which I'll go into a little bit in detail here, even though the problems I was experiencing were more to do with the firmware and the app, they sent me this unit, this new one, because this newer model I guess doesn't have quite as many issues, and I noticed it has a couple of additional little things that make it kind of cool. For one, it generally fits together better. Everything is more snug, tighter together. The gaps, like where the battery goes in, are not as wide. Little things like that. The button actually, which is something I really appreciated, when you push on this back button here, your fire button, it actually has a bit of a click. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Whereas the other ones, the previous version, which I had to send back, it didn't have that. It was just a button with no click, so it wasn't quite as indicative of when you're actually pressing down the button, which is not, you know, you can get by without it, but it was a nice little feature. The heat sink as well, the glass stem, all that, it was a better quality than the first version that I had. The stem is still a little bit gritty when you take it in and out, when you retract it here, which I'm not sure how they're going to really fix that, because it seems to be grinding up against the ceramic stem, whatever thing you want to call it. It's not the crucible, but the part on top that leads to that, that's inside the heatsink. That ceramic piece seems to grind up against this glass stem, and that's what causes the grittiness. But again, these are very minor things. The problems I was having with the unit, and again, like I said, I really wanted to love this thing because when it works fantastically well. The problem I was having was actually with the app. The app does not like, I'm on Android by the way, I'm using a G5, and my LG G5 just does not like the app for some reason. They don't get along. It's something to do with the Bluetooth, I guess. There's a couple guys over there at Ghost that have been helping me out. Dave in particular, thank you so much for all your help, Dave. Really appreciated that. There's something with the Bluetooth on this phone that it just doesn't jive with the Bluetooth from the Ghost, the MV1 unit. I don't know if it has something to do maybe with the fact that it comes from the UK and I'm in North America. I don't know. I'm just taking a wild guess, but that particular phone just doesn't work with it. So if you have a G5, it's still a really great top shelf vape unit. So I wouldn't say if you have a G5 don't get one, but stick with the firmware update, which I think is the more stable one that it comes with now. I believe, don't quote me on this, but it's 1.28 or something like that, version 1.28. Anyway, with that version, you'll be able to do everything. So don't make the mistake that I did and try to constantly fight with the app to get that latest firmware on there. It's really not going to make that much of a difference. And Ghost and even myself, I'm perfectly happy with the firmware update that it comes with. And they've worked out a lot of the kinks that were in the pre-order version, which is what I originally got. And, you know, Dave said something that really stuck with me, is that he really wants to make sure that the people who took a leap of faith in pre-ordering this product really get what they deserve and what they paid for. So I appreciated that. I really appreciated his high level of customer service. Actually, everybody at Ghost has been fantastic that I've dealt with anyway. You guys are great. Again, I highly recommend this unit. When it works, you know, if you just use it right out of the box, charge it up first, of course. You want to make sure that you fully charge it before you use it. And it should come with a fast charger. Mine did. That was the pre-order, mind you. I don't know if the newer ones come with a fast charger or not, but USB, whatever. Wait until the battery is green. Don't use it until it is. and you'll see that it's a fantastic vape. The vape quality is just really good. Apparently there's something where you can't vape, even if it's legal or for medicinal reasons. You can't inhale things on YouTube, so I won't be able to demo, unfortunately, because I don't want to get my video flagged for not suitable for all advertisers, which my first one, even though I didn't vape in it, it got flagged. So I don't know if it really matters at this point. But anyway, I digress. It is a fantastic unit, my friends. I highly recommend it. I actually like it so much that despite the issues I've had, I bought another one for my wife. So we each have one now. And it's just a healthier way to go instead of smoking or whatever. I mean, there's no doctor out there that's going to tell you to smoke your medicine, and it really doesn't make sense. So if you're vaping medicinally, make sure that you have a high quality unit. Spend a little bit of money, get something that's good, it's going to last you a few years, it's going to be reliable, it's got a good battery life, you know, that produces a high quality vape, all important things. So that said, I do highly recommend the Ghost MV1. It goes for about $300 last I checked. I suppose I could take a look here. The pre-order anyway was about $300 US plus tax and shipping. So yeah, they're still going for $295. And honestly, guys, it's well worth it. It's well worth the money. So that's it. I just wanted to share my experiences with this. Here's the little, just in case you're curious, I'm not sure. I probably shared this on my original video, but here's the little, what do you call these things? Crucible with the little cover that comes with it. Oh, it actually comes, if you get the replacement crucibles, it'll come with the little metal filter thing to absorb concentrates. Whoops, dropped stuff all over the place. This little thing, you know, you can soak it in alcohol if you want to clean it and stuff. This whole thing is just isopropyl alcohol friendly. Obviously, that's how you clean it. And do make sure to keep it cleaned and well maintained in order for it to have a long life and not have issues. That's kind of a general rule of thumb with all vape units, is you want to make sure to keep them nice and cleaned and well maintained so they last years and they function optimally. Another thing that I noticed is when I got this new replacement unit, it was tight. It was so freaking tight. I don't know why. I mean, I would rather it be snug in here than loose, obviously, but it was tight. I could not, for the life of me, push down on this button to open up the little arm here to release the crucible. So how I actually got around that is I found a suggestion online. I saw a whole bunch of suggestions. None of them worked for me, but what actually did work is the one suggestion to put your fingernail in right here. I'm a wolf biter, so I don't want to zoom in too close on my fingers. They're pretty mangled up right now. But stick your fingernail right about here. You'll notice that the button to release the arm here, this little section, I'm not sure what it's called, but you'll notice that the button has a gap on the right side. Stick your fingernail in on that button on the left side and try to just, at the same time as pushing the button, jam your finger in there, your fingernail in there, and push down slightly. You'll see that it actually doesn't take much force to release this little lever here. So the more you play with it, you know, once you actually get it open, because for me, like, I was forcing down on it and I just could not get it open. So once you finally do get it open, just keep closing it and opening it, and over time it will loosen up a little bit. Like right now it's very snug, but like I said, I'd rather it be snug than loose. So the more you play with it, the more you open it up and stuff, the more it will adjust and free up a little bit of playroom. So as you can see now, it takes barely any force to pop the button. So if yours is a little seized up at first, don't worry, it's normal. After 3-4 attempts of getting it open, you'll see that it'll start loosening up a little bit. One thing as well that I'll mention is if you're not getting a thick vape, if you like a thick vape, first of all, when you hold down the button, you push the button 3 times and then hold it down on the last one. Yeah, if you hold it down once while it's on, it'll show you the battery life, but I think 1, 2, 3. Okay, so while the battery indicator is on, then you do your 3. 1, 2, 3, hold the last one on the third, and it will bring up the different modes. You can also do this on your phone if the Bluetooth works for you. It's a lot easier, and apparently with if you're not on Android, if you're on iOS, the app works a lot better, so you shouldn't have those issues. But anyway, once you're showing the battery indicator, so if I hold it down, it'll go all green. Now I do the 1, 2, 3, and it'll switch to the different modes. First of all, if you're not getting a good vape, a thick vape, and that's what you want, set it to the 3 amber lights, which is considered a high mode. It's not normal, which is what it comes on stock. It's considered a higher temperature vape, and I like it because it releases more of those cannabinoids. Another thing you can do is adjust your stem height. So if you find that you're not getting a good vape, try putting it down a little bit so that it's in more, and you'll notice, I'm not inhaling anything by the way, YouTube, this is just air. You'll notice that there's not as much airflow coming in when you lower it like that. So if you want a denser vape, generally you want more airflow, generally speaking that is. So as you can see, if I bring it out all the way to the little line that's engrooved in the glass stem, you can see there's a big difference. Lots more airflow there. So play around with that if you're not getting a good vape, and you'll find where the happy zone is for you. But I think those two things in combination, especially if you're a former smoker, you'll probably appreciate that throat hit a little bit more. Now, one last thing that I will say, if your MV1 happens to get stuck in update mode, which has happened to me, you get either the scrolling amber lights from left to right, or if you have the flashing amber lights, your unit basically becomes inoperable at that point, and it's a paperweight. You really can't do anything with it. And if you're relying on it for your medicinal doses, you want to make sure that your unit is functional, right? As a responsible medicinal cannabis user, I always make sure that my battery is fully charged right at the beginning of the day. So at the end of the night, if I'm not using the unit, I'll plug it in, make sure that it's fully charged for the morning. But also, if you happen to get stuck in update mode, what you have to do, and it's a really easy fix, and I wish I would have known this from the beginning, but again, thanks Dave for sharing this information with me, just leave it sit. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but after about 15-20 minutes of it sitting in update mode, it will shut off, and it has a built-in programming. I'm not good with these sort of technical terms, but it has programming within it to it's kind of a workaround for the update mode thing. So it will recognize that it's been sitting in update mode for 15-20 minutes. It will shut itself off, and then when it comes back on, when you turn the unit back on, it will be back in operation mode. So that was a really good tip that when I figured out, I said, oh, I wish I would have known that from the beginning. It would have saved me a lot of grief, and I would have been able to continue medicating on those days where it wasn't working. So just wanted to add that in there. So that's it, guys. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate you tuning in for this follow-up video, and I'll catch you on the next one at some other point doing something else on the channel. So take care, my friends. Be well. Bye-bye.